Welcome to the Betting Above the Rim podcast. Today's date, July 30th, episode 171 of the Betting Above the Rim podcast. Let's get started with our tip-off topic. With Jonathan Kuminga, there's been a lot been said about Kuminga, even earlier today, about what he feels like his role and how he's valued in Golden State. Well, Jonathan Kuminga, according to Shams Charania, rejected a 2-year, $45 million offer to stay with the Golden State Warriors thing, and due to Warriors insistent on a team option and waiving a built-in no-trade clause. And the interesting thing about Jonathan Kuminga is the fact that Jonathan Kuminga was actually pulled out of the starting lineup by Steve Kerr at one point during last year and then put back in. It kind of, his minutes kind of went up and down as the season, even the playoffs got going. But it also speaks to the fact that there really isn't anywhere for Kuminga to go. So where is his leverage? He doesn't have it. And it brings up an interesting point. Mark Stein put a tweet out yesterday that said, if I want to say this correctly, it's Kuminga, it's Cam Thomas, and Josh Giddey all want at least $30 million per season. I want people to sit down and just stop for a second. I am all for these guys getting paid. I get it. But I want you to understand there's only, I believe, 57 players that are scheduled to make over $30 million this year. Now, I know that includes some guys, guys that are under this that may have been either on rookie deals or guys that are, maybe got extended but haven't got the extension yet. Or there's players that had to sign for the mid-level exception. But here are some players that are on long-term deals that are making under $30 million a year. And if you tell me if Kuminga, Giddey, and especially Cam Thomas are better than these guys as players, Derek White, John Collins, Draymond Green, Mikal Bridges, DeMar DeRozan, Jaden McDaniels, DeAndre Hunter, Aaron Gordon, Norman Powell, Cam Johnson, Josh Hart, Lou Dort, Ivica Zubac. All those guys are making under $30 million a year. And these three think they get $30 million a year? Who's paying them? Utah ain't paying them. They got money. Nets, they're holding off. I mean, the Nets can sign Cam Thomas wherever they want. They're holding off. There's no leverage here. So I understand Jonathan Kuminga, wanting to reject deals, but how can he go to Golden State and say, I want 3 for $90 right now? Who's giving it to him? There's got to be a signing trade that happens, and let's be honest, the market isn't for any of those three. If there's any of those three, that I'm paying close to $30 million a year, no offense to Cam Thomas and Jonathan Kuminga, it's Josh Giddey, who actually had a good second half of the season. Let's head to the W, where some interesting games took place last night. Let's start with the Valkyries' 77-75 win over the Atlanta Dream. The Atlanta Dream just literally came off of winning 2 road games in a row at Phoenix and at Minnesota. And here I went on this last podcast saying, Atlanta Dream, even money, make the WNBA semifinals. Wait, what? That taping got really old really fast. But it also speaks to the Valkyries, who continue to play really good basketball, play hard basketball. They've struggled since Caleb Thornton has been out. But they are really good defensively. Now, the interesting thing is the Dream are going to play tonight. Obviously, the recording, you'll hear this tomorrow. Second leg of a back-to-back tonight versus Dallas. So maybe it was a look-ahead spot here. But still, you got to look at Atlanta with Alicia Gray, with BG, with Brianna Jones, with Jordan Canada. Once they get Ryan Howard back, are they the team that lost to the Valkyries by 2? Or is this the team that went on the road and beat Phoenix and beat Minnesota? I'm going to bet on the latter. Speaking of teams looking ahead, well, the New York Liberty were down by 27 points in the first half to the Dallas Wings. Ended up losing 92-82. I think they got the game within 6 or 5 points in the fourth quarter. when New York outscored Dallas 20-7. Arika Wambawale continues to play better basketball for the Dallas Wings. And you look at, obviously with Paige Beckers forms an interesting 1-2 punch. When you look at the Liberty, they just get Jonquel back, and now they lose Stewie. And they're in an interesting spot tonight, and we won't talk about it, but by the time you listen to this podcast, you'll know the outcome of the game between the Liberty and the Lynx. Liberty have to play the Lynx 4 times the rest of the season. New York has been very inconsistent since Jonquel Jones went down. Obviously, Little Mephibosheth has missed time. Now we have Stewart. Benaja Laney-Hamilton is missing the entire year. But do know the big one, the free signing, Emma Messerman, actually was spotted in New York today. That does not mean she's going to play in the next day or so, but her being in the country makes me feel like Emma Messerman should be coming back sooner rather than later. When she's ready, they can plug her into that starting lineup, put her next to Jonquel Jones, and then it becomes really interesting with New York when Emma Messerman is back and they get Stewie back, because then you put Emma Messerman on the bench, oh my Lord, and you still got that starting lineup of Sab, Natasha Cloud, Phoebich, Stewie, Jonquel Jones. Still the best team in the WNBA, even with their struggles. Speaking of best player, we could say, Saniyah Hall just announced her commitment to head to USC this coming year to play for Lindsay Gottlieb. And one thing you could say about Lindsay Gottlieb is Lindsay is one of the best recruiters in the country. It's interesting to look at Saniyah Hall, because you got to remember, a lot of these players and even high school kids are signing endorsement deals with shoe companies. Now, the rumor is I think Saniyah Hall may have a sneaker deal with Jordan, which could make sense why people thought that North Carolina would be in the picture with Courtney Bangard, who is actually a phenomenal head coach, if you don't know anything about what she's done both at Princeton and at USC. But it brings up an interesting point when it comes to Lindsay Gottlieb. Lindsay Gottlieb that got her team at Cal off of Final Four. It wasn't great towards the end. She went to the NBA and coached at Cleveland as an assistant. Now she's come back, and she has now landed the #1 player in the class 3 of the last 4 years. This kid, Saniyah Hall, is a absolute bucket. A bucket. I can't wait to see this kid play for the Trojans. But it sets up an interesting dilemma. What's Saniyah Hall? With the 2025 top player, Jazzy Davidson. With JuJu Watkins. Could too much perimeter scoring be too much? Meaning, who's the alpha female in that group? Who are the role players? And most importantly, who gets them the ball? I will say this. With Saniyah getting there, and when JuJu gets back, USC and Lindsay Gottlieb has a ton of pressure, not only to win the Big Ten, but to win a national championship. Because one thing's for sure, Lindsay's got a ton of talent when Saniyah Hall gets there. Coming up next, we're going to go into our award tour. We'll focus today on the NBA Eastern Conference first, and then the Western Conference. We'll go through Atlanta, Boston, and Brooklyn as I give you whether they go over or under their win total. We'll be back after this commercial break. Welcome back to the Betting Above the Rim podcast, episode 171. It's time to get into our award tour as we break down future markets. We're going to handle this a little bit differently the next couple of weeks. First things first, we're going to be moving the Betting Above the Rim podcast, so 1 week starting next week until we get about 1 month out from the regular season. So what we figured, Matt George does a great job as my producer and I decided, is we're going to take 3 teams in the East and then 3 teams in the West. And that's how we're going to kind of give you the award tour. And that should take us basically to the end of August when we'll kind of ramp up, the kind of start of the NBA season in the middle of October. With that being said, let's pull up the odds for the win total in the East. And let's focus on the first 3. Leading off with the Atlanta Hawks. And when you really look at Atlanta, this is a team that's really made some interesting moves in the offseason, as I think this is the most pivotal season for them to come. Number 1 is Clint Capella is gone, but it's more about who they brought in, and that's Kristaps Porzingis. A Kristaps Porzingis that, when right, is a 20-point, 10-rebounder a game guy who can also stretch the floor from 3 and can protect the rim. You know, they also get Nickeil Alexander-Walker from Minnesota to fortify their bench. And then they get arguably the best, maybe could be the best shooter in the world, arguably one of the best, and Luke Kennard. So when you look at this team at 46.5 wins, do they go over or under this number? I'm going to say this carefully, folks. They have to go over 46.5. They have to go over 46.5. Why? Well, let's put it this way. Orlando's the best team in the division. They're obviously top 3 in the East. Miami, down. Washington, wait till we get to them at the end of August. I can't wait. That's going to be fun talking about how bad that team's going to be. And Charlotte always seems to be a team that's in a state of flux and a mess. So because their division is so bad, and they're the second best team in the division, and they're going to play, 15 games versus teams in their division, and the East is wide open, they have to go over 46.5. Because if they don't go over 46.5, folks, I said this before, the pressure is on Trae Young now. They've swapped out coaches. It was Nate McMillan, now it's Quinn Snyder for a couple of years. They brought in DeJounte Murray, they got rid of DeJounte Murray. They got John Collins, got rid of John Collins. They had Clint Capella, got rid of Clint Capella. And they brought in a boatload of guys over the last 4 or 5 years, from Jalen Johnson, who should be healthy this year, to Zachary Richardson, who should take a big jump in year 2, to Porzingis, to Kennard, to Alexander Walker. So if they don't win and go over 46.5 wins, there's trouble in Atlanta. Maybe the trouble could be Trae Young. It's head to Boston, who after 61 wins last year, their win total is at 42.5. Now, when you look at Boston, there are so many changes we can speak of. Jason Tatum is gone, out for the year, right? Porzingis, gone. Drew Holiday, gone. Now, they bring in Anthony Simons, who's obviously uber talented, but I'm concerned about how Anthony Simons is going to fit into that lineup. You also got to look at the fact that their backup big, Luke Cornett, is also gone. Oh, by the way, Al Horford is unsigned. So when you look at a team, it's going to probably start Derek White, Anthony Simons, Jaylen Brown. I don't even know who else you're going to start there. I'm going under. And I like Joe Mazzulla as a coach. But I also think New York is way better than them. And I'm of the belief that we're going to get a really good year out of Philadelphia, because especially Joel Embiid has sat there and talked about this could be near the end of the road. And I think jobs are on the line in Philadelphia. Nick Nurse's job is on the line in Philadelphia. Daryl Morey's job is on the line in Philadelphia. So because of what Philadelphia has to do, what New York has, and what Boston doesn't have, and I actually think Toronto's going to be a little bit better than we think. I don't know if I'm going to go over that win total, but I think it's going to be better than we think. I'm going to go under 42.5 in what I would call a rebuilding year or a pivot year possibly for the Boston Celtics. Let's head to Brooklyn, whose team total is at 20.5. The big news that they did after having 26 wins last year is they drafted not one, not two, but 3 point guards in the first round of the NBA draft. Did I say that right? Yeah, I said it right. I did say it right. Make sure you understand it. 3 point guards. And Igor Demon's probably the starter, and I don't know if any of them are ready to play huge minutes off the jump. Cam Thomas is inside. He wants to get paid. Thinks he should get $30 million a year. Your best player, in my opinion, was Cam Johnson. He gets moved for Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr., who, to me, is an enigma, but could actually have a big scoring year this year for Brooklyn because where else are they getting any kind of scoring? And I think that at the end of the day, there are 3 teams that I'm looking at that want AJ DeBanza. It's Brooklyn, it's Washington, and it's Utah. It's crazy that I'm going to say that they're going to go under this number because does that mean Sean Marks is going to even make it? I don't know. I mean, I don't even know what this guy's got on people, but he is. He's from New York City. You know, he's in Brooklyn. I mean, he may be the new John Gotti. He may be Teflon Don. Like you can't do anything that's got to get this guy fired. But at the end of the day, I'm going under 20.5 with the Brooklyn Nets. I think they're going to be god awful. So to recap, Atlanta over 46.5, Boston under 42.5, Brooklyn under 20.5. Coming up next, we'll go to the award tour to the Western Conference. This should be a little bit more interesting as we preview the win totals and the take over-under for Dallas, Denver, and Golden State. One team with Cooper Flag, one team that makes a big jump, and can the Warriors stay afloat? We'll be back after this commercial break. Welcome back to the Betting Above the Rim podcast, episode 171. It's time to get into our award tour again, but now to the Western Conference as we focus on over-under win totals currently out. Let's start with Dallas, who is such an intriguing team at 40.5 wins. Obviously, we know about the trade that took place last year with Luka Doncic. We don't need to look back. You know, this is a team that ended up with 39 wins. And do remember, obviously, Kyrie Irving is out for the season. So when you look at this team, obviously to talk about is going to be about Cooper Flag. The number 1 overall draft pick showed some incredible play, particularly that second game in Vegas when they shut him down when he went over 30 points. But to me, it's about health, right? Anthony Davis, dealing with injuries, should be back by the start of the season. Derek Lively, dealing with injuries, should be back hopefully by the start of the season. Daniel Gafford has had injury concerns. Klay Thompson, getting up there in age. But if you close your eyes, and now remember, they decided D'Angelo Russell to run the point, even though I think the offense is going to run through Cooper. Russell, Klay, Flag, Davis, Lively. Max Christie shows some promise. They signed Najee Marshall. You have P.J. Washington. You have Daniel Gafford. And I really am a huge believer in the coaching of Jason Kidd. So for that, I'm going to go over 40.5 wins for the Dallas Mavericks. Let's head to Denver, a team that last year won 50 games, fired their coach right before the playoffs, and now is sitting at 53.5. Why am I pro Denver? Number 1, I just think it was time to make a change. Nothing against Michael Malone. Sometimes voices get stale. Lord only knows how many times my voice has been stale with players. But to me about what they've done, right? I think getting Cam Johnson was a stroke of genius. I think he's way more consistent than Michael Porter Jr. And he's a perfect stretch for Denver. Also someone that's pretty good defensively. But it's their bench that's got my attention. It's getting Bruce Brown back. It's getting Jonas Valanciunas back. Or getting Jonathan Kuminga to say as a free agent or trade. It's the development of the young guys, including a Deron Holmes that I was so high on coming out of Dayton that tore his Achilles, I do believe the first Summer League game of 2024. Because of David Adelman and because of the additions to the bench and getting Cam Johnson, I'm going over 53.5 wins for Denver. I truly believe this team is capable of 55-plus wins. Let's head to the interesting one. That's Golden State, whose win total is at 45.5 wins. It's funny, I was talking to my producer, Matt George, when we were talking about this, and I named, I believe, 8 teams that I think are going to be better than Golden State. And then we realized that 8th place in the Western Conference was Memphis, and they got 48 wins. So can Golden State go over 45.5? I ask you this. I know they've gotten Jimmy Butler, and they have paid Jimmy Butler and have him for the whole year. Who are they better than in the West? Are they better than Denver? No. Houston? No. Clippers? No. Lakers? No. Grizzlies? Spoiler? No. Minnesota? No. OKC? No. I think the Spurs take a big jump as 8 teams. And I think other teams that are below them are going to be better than we think. New Orleans should be better. Portland's such a weird team, but I think they're going to be better. Utah, we're not even discussing that. At some point, it's going to be the end of the road, at the end of the dynasty. I have put dirt on this team's grave for 3 years or 2 years. I could be wrong again, but I don't see it. Give me under 45.5 wins for the Golden State Warriors. This has been your Betting Above the Rim podcast for July 30th. For all things sports gambling, download that Sports Grid app. Pre-game, in-game, post-game, props, predictions, and more from the very best in the sports gambling industry. For my producer, Matty George, who always does a great job, thanks for listening, folks, and always remember, it's smarter to be on Sports Grid. Good night.